All right, let's talk about something that's, I would say it is a passion of mine. And, the overall arcing theme is collecting old things, mainly old steel. I thought you guys might appreciate a little bit about why I like it, and how it might affect some of the newer products that are out there. And don't get me wrong, I love new guitars, but there's something to be said about the old stuff, right? So let me go ahead and break down one myth about old steel. It's not that steel was necessarily made better back in the day, okay? We still have those same techniques and processes, probably even better today, to make good steel. But what we have to remember is there's very little old steel that has survived, and if it has, it's generally good steel from back in the day. Case in point, this is an old file. Pardon the expression, but this is known as a bastard file. It's just an all-around file. This is an old Nicholson corncob file handle back in the day, boys and girls. This cuts better than any modern file I've ever bought. Were there crappy files back in the day? Yeah. They got thrown in the scrap. Let's talk about scrap. During World War II, it was very popular for scrap drives to happen because we needed the metal to support the war effort. So if you had a bunch of files laying around and you said, man, this is my best one, I'm not going to let go of this one, but we'll throw these other 10 away. Guess what's still around today? So let's talk about that first. That's a big deal. There's no such thing as steel used to be better. There's just the good stuff has survived, and that's what's still around, okay? Now, let's talk about guitars, okay? These are two various neck plates from Fender guitars. This one is probably late 90s, early 2000s. This one is very recent, 2020-ish, okay? Now, I'm going to try and do this. Little shop tip, guys. If you're working around vices with your guitars, I always keep this padded rag on here because the last thing I want to do is bump this sharp, good steel. Okay, so here's the big one. Not only does this newer one weigh about half the weight of the 90s, possibly 80s, let's see if we can get a tone out of it here. The deeper the tone, the more metal. Let's get a better one. Okay, here's the big one. Well, did you hear that? So, if we want to get nerdy someday, stop by. We'll talk about the Tama Bell Brass snare drum, why that's so famous. But for now, we're going to end this conversation. Old steel, good stuff if it's still around. Generally, the junk got thrown into the scrap pile. These days, be careful about what you buy. I'm not saying Fender as a brand. I'm going to turn those over. I'm going to say this as far as anything goes. There are cheap parts. There are good parts. If you ever don't know which one to buy, come talk to me because I've obsessed over it, okay? A couple brands I love to use would be anything from Schaller Hardware. It's incredible. That's German-made, highly engineered, precision, good steel. Check that stuff out. There's a couple independent companies that are incredible. If you've ever heard of Calham with an M, they make unbelievable Fender spec parts from the 50s and 60s. That stuff is cold rolled, cryogenically frozen steel. Like I said, we still know how to make killer steel. You just got to find the right places to buy it, okay? If you need any help, come see us, palmermusic.co, 1131 Front Street. We'll talk to you soon.